Welcome to Recovery Inspired Hope. I'm so excited today. I have my friend Scott here. His ministry is Hope Dealer for the Lost, and he has an incredible story and an incredible ministry as well. Such an incredible story, a very unique way that he found sobriety himself, and then his ministry today. So excited to be able to shed light on it, and all the things that you do and every journey start. What date was it?
November 17th, 2017.
Tell us a little bit about what it was growing up, little Scott. What was that like?
It was funny because little Scott he was just a problem child, basically. I was just a bad kid in school. I just didn't listen at all. I just have to say a funny story. I always say it. It was in second grade. I was like in love with this teacher. It was actually funny. And I actually stole my mom's engagement ring and I proposed to my second grade teacher. But
No, you
I never,
didn't.
yeah, I did. My mom
So
still talks to
cute.
this teacher. It's actually funny. She still talks to this teacher to this day. But I wasn't really a bad kid, like growing up, like drug wise. Like it hit when I moved to Staten Island. My grandpa died when I was 10, one day before my birthday. So that hit home like hard, real hard. And when I got to Staten Island, I was very compulsive. Every addict is compulsive, as you probably know. But I was dabbling with drinking and weed like everybody else. We start off small, then we go bigger. But I just started dabbling with drinking and smoking, and then it went to steroids, and then it went to shrooms, and then I was selling ecstasy and doing ecstasy a lot. Uh, then I just started like lifting heavy weights. I was benching like over 400 or 500 pounds, like heavy, heavy. To the point where I was like, whoa, my shoulder, my neck, my back, everything was like hurting me. And I started going to a doctor, and I was like, I didn't know that these doctors were the real drug dealers. Like I always say, the government is the real drug dealers, my opinion. And it got to a point where I was going to one doctor, and then I was like, whoa, this money's good. And I started going to two doctors, then three doctors, then four doctors. And I was like,
Mhm.
this money was real good. Because I grew up with my dad, like doing football sheets, and like I just seen a lot of money in my life with my dad and stuff. Like I lived pretty good with my dad. And I got to the point where it was like, what am I doing? I started taking some, but I was selling like three-quarters of it. And then I was doing the rest. But then it got to a point where it was like I'm hiding it. Like my parents didn't even know because they never did drugs. So it got to the point like only my friends knew. And I would do like oxymorphone. I would shave it and sniff it, and then when you have withdrawals, it's brutal. Like you don't even know what to do. I never went to heroin, thank God, because I probably wouldn't be speaking on your podcast right now. But
Mhm.
it was out of control. I got red flagged, and then these doctors wanted to throw me out. I'm just giving you a short summary of it. And then it got to the point, it was like, what am I going to do? I can't pay $20, $30 for these things because it's a lot of money. And
Right.
I was driving like girls around. I was bouncing, and I was always like a hustler. I was making money a lot. But it got to the point like, yo, I have to stop this stuff or I'm going to die. And I was like, I say in my testimony, I was in a stronghold, like a submission hold for 33 years. And I never tap out. I'm like, I have that like heart of a lion. I don't see lion. I don't tap out. There's something wrong with me. I really don't tap out. I'm very strong mentally. And I just got to the point I tapped out. I was at my apartment and I said I had enough. I looked up a lot of rehabs. I do interventions. I'll say it on the podcast. 75% of the rehabs suck. They give you alternatives. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but Suboxone, Vivitrol, Methadone, Subutex, these aren't like getting off. It's a pathway of getting off, but I don't believe that's an alternative. But I do believe that's going in the right way, and I praise people that go that way, like go that way and slowly maintenance. But maintenance is maintenance. Maintenance isn't like staying on for 5 years. That's not called maintenance. That's just getting hooked on something else. So I ended up looking up rehabs, and I found a rehab in Mexico, which I got really hooked on. I still talk to the owner till this day. He has like 5 rehabs in Mexico, all over Mexico, one in Baja California, Mexico, which is very expensive, but it works. He has it down to a science, a protocol. I didn't have zero. I had zero withdrawal, and who can ever say that? I don't know what person goes to rehab and says they don't have any withdrawal. I had zero.
So
They
what
had an
did you
IV.
just Google? You just Googled rehabs and found this one in Mexico and was like, hey, that sounds good.
Yeah, I looked at like I know a lot about like I wouldn't say science, but let's like stuff like hyperbaric chamber, real good. Reiki and yoga, I don't believe in now, but they had it down there. Massaging, coffee and water enemas, and plant-based diet, and then they had a thing called ayahuasca and ibogaine.
Now
Ayahuasca, and I
that's
don't believe in.
okay. And what is that?
It's a it's basically a hallucinogenic, both of them. But
Okay.
ayahuasca is with a shaman, which I don't believe in now that I'm a Christian, but it basically you start purging. It hurt actually in a way, but it felt like you had like a bad stomach ache and times it by 100. You're just
Ooh.
like, and you start seeing things. And the shaman said he's seen my like grandpa, which is pretty awesome. And that's why probably a lot of the hurt was coming from. And I just would lash out on everybody. And then ibogaine is illegal in America. Why? I wonder why, Jamie. And that works. I had no cravings, no urges, no temptation since that day. And it's very, 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 very strong. It paralyzes you. You feel like you're reborn. And I took it's a 12 hour procedure, and you take an espresso cup every 2 hours. And after the third espresso cup, you're like in outer space. It's almost like shrooms in a way. And the owner came in to give me the fourth one, and he says, "Here's your fourth dose." And I heard him say it like, "Are you ready for your next dose?" Because I was like freaking out, and he laughs about it till this day. But I'm not gonna lie, that place changed my life. But the thing that really changed my life was God. Because from Pennsylvania, like I feel the presence of God right now, real strong. From Mexico, I went to Pennsylvania. I didn't know nobody. It was my parents. That's not like really knowing anybody. You don't really hang out and have like a click with that. So my brother-in-law brought me to this church, Revolution Church, which I clicked with really well. They taught me a lot. And then I branched off and I was like, what am I doing out here? Why am I here? 90% of my friends are in New York. God, what do you have for me out here? I didn't know who God was at all. I know I tried to kill myself 12 times high and drunk. I knew there was a God. I crashed my car. Like, I believe on purpose. Like, I just wanted to end it. But God had me here for a special purpose. And I was like, one day I was just laying in my mom's bed and it almost like hit me like when I was on drugs. It was like, I got to do something. I jumped out of bed and I started doing Uber in Philly. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm driving around. It was good. Experience is just interacting with people and praying for people. Then one day I just got lost. I was like, where the heck am I? I seen 1 pound cheesesteak and the presence of God hit me like a ton of bricks. And I heard God say, I need you here. And I like got frozen. I got the chills right now. And I was like, whoa. I stopped at the red light. I didn't even move. And I heard God say, I need you here. And I ever since that day, I just kept going there. Me and my ex-girlfriend went down there with Jesus chain breakers, but it was like, I want more, God, more. And I just kept saying, God, I really want more of this place. You told me you needed me here. Now show me why you need me here. And I started going down there with my brother. I call him my brother Arthur, who's from Staten Island. And we just kept going down there. And we brought waters and food, and all of a sudden I just kept. It was like God took over my mouth. I didn't even know I was speaking to these humans, and just people were going to rehab, and people were going to rehab, and people were going to. It was like a domino effect. I'm like, and every night I would say, God, I just ask you to just send me more addicts, more addicts. Just keep feeding me more addicts, and I'll just bring them to you. To you, just keep you bring them to me, and I'll bring them to you. Anyway, it was such a good it was such a good feeling because every time me and him would go down there, it would just God would deliver, and it was
It
just
was like
so good.
signs and miracles and wonders. We were just actually, we talked about this in church, and it was saying how like the apostles were praying to God to for boldness to speak, but also for signs and miracles and wonders to follow to prove the message. So that's really what it sounds like this whole like acts of apostles happening right there where you were.
The best thing about it is once you tell God, even you, Jamie, say, Father God, make me available. That big word is like, all right, I'm available. I'm wide open. Throw me the ball. It's like a quarterback to a wide receiver. Yo, I'm right here. And it's like it says in the Bible, here I am, send me. And that's all I kept saying. Send me. And then it's like I'm not gonna move until he tells me to move. So if God says go to Skid Row, go to Seattle, Tent City, go to Baltimore, go to Detroit, I'm gonna go. But I feel in my heart I have to go to Georgia to that 3-day event. I prayed about it. I love what they're doing with John Ramirez, Alexander Pagani, Isaiah Saldivar. I'm like really into them a lot. I like them a lot. And it's just you just get the craving you just say, Father God, instead of craving for the drugs and temptations and urges, give me cravings and temptations for you. And I do that. And it was almost like God flipped the script real quick. And it's like you feel that nudge. Once you feel that nudge, it's like don't go back to Egypt. And it's like once you feel that nudge, it's like like in a certain situation, like relationships and friends, that circle is gonna change. And you pray for like-minded people. I pray all the time when people get free from drugs. I tell them pray for like-minded people because that's like it's like some days I wake up, it's like, am I really hanging out with these people? Certain people I'm hanging out with. It's like I'm going to CC Winans and I'm going to these crazy concerts and it's like I'm really hanging out with certain people and I'm not hanging out who I think I should be hanging out with because God says I'm going to redirect and ordain your steps. And it's like super powerful. The way I'm speaking is like, yeah, I would never think I spoke like this. I used to say, "Hey, bro, what's up? How you doing?" I speak like a street kid in a way, but it's just the wild thing when you let him control your steps and you just let him move. Once you run ahead of him, that puzzle ain't gonna go together good because he's the puzzle maker. He'll put every piece together. But I just want to make my dad happy. He's God is number one, but that is my parents. Like I want to make my dad finally said I'm proud of you, and it's like when I was with my ex and we were driving, he said I'm like proud of you, and I don't really cry. Like my emotions got out a little bit more. I cry when I worship, but he was like I'm proud of you, and I was like what that felt. My dad never, well my parents never said I love you. I had to say that to them first. So for him to say that to me, it made me even want to even push even harder.
Mm.
So now when I go down to Kensington, it's like my boy calls me a kangaroo for Jesus because I'm just hopping all over the place and I'm jumping all over. I just want to make God proud. I'm just, I just want to be available and just tell him, just bring me wherever you have me. If you want me to open up a Christian-based rehab, I'll do it. If you want me to get an RV and travel the world with a shower and just go to certain areas, I'll do it. If you want me to just stay with interventions, I'll do it. Whatever you got for me. If you want me to do Airbnbs, I'm doing it. But my hunger is with addiction. I'm real hungry. Like when you told me
So,
about your son, it was like real good.
what does it look like in Kensington for those who have never seen it? I was telling my mom about it and I was like, "Mom, you've got to look this up. Like this is crazy." So tell us what does it look like in Kensington?
You gotta be a special breed. I'm not saying I'm special. Like God anoints certain people for certain areas and certain times and certain places, but the videos don't like do justice. I'm going to use that word. Like if you and your mom and your husband came down there, you'd be like, whoa. Like I brought people down there, and these people from like the streets, like big time, and their eyes would open, like whoa. People would cry on the way home. I can't believe this, like and it's like people. It's like I don't want to use the word, but it's like Resident Evil. It's just like Walking Dead is just like all over the place. And in the beginning, it was like blocks and blocks and blocks of people just all over the floor walking around. And it was like, but they're receptive, which is crazy. Like I'm like talking to them, and they have the barriers up. And me and my boy Arthur would walk around, and I would just tell them I really loved you, and they would look at me like with this weird face, and I would say I really love you. I looked them straight in their face. I was like, here's a plate, here's water. But I just want to tell you, I love you. It's not about the food. It's not about the clothes. It's not. It's about my sincere. Like I really do love you, and I want to see you get better. I want to see your parents put their head on that pillow, and be like happy that you're not gonna die. Like I want you to get your kids back. That's the number one thing. I want to see families get reunited. I just want to see what I'm feeling. I want you to feel. Like I want you to get over addiction. And look at you. You know, you're going to North Carolina. You got a podcast. Your kids back together. Everything's just flowing. It's like a domino effect. You know, like once you start the first process, he just starts pruning you and purging you, and he molds you like the potter and the clay. You know, and you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I prayed about that. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if Kensington's a place for me to go, but I think it's interesting because you said that it's like the police kind of like have this area where people are like just freely allowed to use drugs, like, and it's separated. Can you explain like how that works? Because I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. Basically, when you're walking around, the cops are right there. The cops are in the car. They're starting to do a little bit more, but they're like the I passed the train police, the transit police, and they're asking me for help. This is police. Like if you're asking me for help, that means like I had calls from the transit police like 4 or 5 times where I got to send people to rehab, where I had to get a driver like to pick these people up. Like they don't even know what to do anymore. It's uncontrollable.
Wow.
And even like my friend, this guy Jamal School that's on Facebook, he's just nonstop homicides in Philly. And it's like it's getting out of control where it's like something needs to be done. A new mayor, a new governor, they need to take over. But they just like even if the people don't want to go to rehab, try it out. Like try not you can't bring like if I'm bringing Jamie to rehab and she's from Georgia, I'm not gonna bring her a mile away from a house. Like, I like to bring people an hour or two away because
Mhm.
that gives them like a 60-40 chance of like staying there. Like I brought people to rehab where they actually stayed because like what are they gonna do? 2 hours away. Like there's some people that will leave. They're not 302 or like from court. But I look at it as this: if you like have a warrant or anything, that actually does help you if you go to rehab because you get the certificate and that actually helps you in court. It happened multiple times.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but it's
Um, so so you go out to this place and it's like separated. The police are there, like they're asking you for help, and it's basically just people shooting up, getting high, and you go out there with food, water, clothes, just the love of God, and basically like tell them like about recovery.
I basically go down. I get like maybe like 5 to 10,000 business cards. I give it to them because I want it in. Here's water, here's food, here's clothes, here's my business card, here's some music to enjoy. Let me give you some prayer, and I try to just pray for them. Like I show them pictures of me before and after, where it shows them like it is possible. You could do it. Like the work you might get trashed down by your family. Oh, you're no good or physical, mental, sexual abuse, or just like crazy stuff that happened in your life, and you're trying to numb yourself. But God, my God is a redeemer and a deliverer. He could deliver anybody in a blink of an eye. In 1, 2, 3, like I seen your story, it's awesome. I love seeing people get transformed, and that's why I go down to the mean streets. I call it the mean streets of Kensington because it's just when you get down there, the joy of the Lord is just it just comes upon me, and like it's just even the drug dealers, you could tell. Like I know I could. It's like drug dealers, then you got watchers and lookers. We got these little kids, like 14 to 20, just sitting around looking. Then you got the drug dealers hiding. I could tell because I had an incident when I went down there. I was with two of my boys, but they were like a little back, like 5, 6 blocks down. And I was ministering to this kid. It was actually a God moment, which is crazy. And I was ministering. These three drug dealers came up to me and said, "Yo, what are you doing in my territory? I'm dealing hope. You're dealing drugs. I'm dealing hope. Hopefully one day you'll be on my side." And they go, "I slapped the." I was like, "Bro, I'm right here." And that's how I know God had like angels behind me because they took 3 steps and like got frozen, like locked up. It
Wow.
was it was pretty wild because I didn't believe it. And then my two friends came and they looked like two gorillas and they were like, "Ah, no beef." But typical 3-on-1. Then all of a sudden, two gorillas come and they get scared. That's how a lot of people are. But I just want to help people. Like anybody that's listening to this podcast that wants help, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll make sure. Oh, but there's no rehabs around it. I'll find the rehab. Oh, but I don't have insurance. That's what everybody tries to make it excuses. Oh, I don't have insurance. I'll find the place that don't take insurance where they get you insurance while you're in there. Just give me a chance. Give God a chance. You know, He'll always make a bed available, a residential bed available. You know, I pray a lot, like a real lot. I pray a lot. I worship a lot, and I want people to realize I'm available and I'm ready to help anybody. Anybody. It doesn't matter what state you're in.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your service and for, sharing the gift that you have and for not keeping it to yourself. and
Gotta.
and I can't wait when you come, hopefully we can do a in-person collaboration. We can do a video. Maybe we could
Definitely.
do like a prayer, a live prayer one day where we can like pray for
Uh
people on like Facebook Live.
all of Georgia might shake when I pray.
That's all right. That's all
I'm
right.
down. I'm definitely coming to Georgia in November. I already wrote on my calendar. It's a done deal.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, hopefully we can go to Revival too. North Georgia Revival. Have you checked it out yet? It's amazing.
No, not yet, but I'm down to do whatever. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm down to do
Awesome.
whatever.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for coming on here. And I'll put, I guess, your links up so people can find you if anybody needs intervention, or if they want to follow you for the. I know you do a little bit of ministry online on Facebook and things like that.
Right.
So we'll definitely get all your links in there. And thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Jamie Tall on Rehab on YouTube, and we will see you next time on Recovery Inspired Hope.